If you've ever been cheated on, this next story might bring you some joy. Did I go too far by getting revenge on my husband after I found out he was cheating with my sister? Hey everyone, I'm Megan, 34-year-old female, and I need to get something off my chest. I'm not proud of what I did, but I'm not sure I regret it either. I found myself in a situation that pushed me to the edge, and now I'm wondering if I went too far. So here's the story. My husband, Jared, 36-year-old male, and I have been married for 8 years. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but I always thought we were solid. We have a 6-year-old daughter together, and she's the light of my life. My sister Becky, 31-year-old female, has always been close to us. We grew up together, and she was my maid of honor at our wedding. I trusted her with everything. She was my best friend. A few months ago, I started noticing that Jared was acting strangely. He was more distant, always on his phone, and would leave the room to take calls. He'd come home late from work, saying he had to put in extra hours to make sure things were running smoothly. I wanted to believe him, but something in my gut told me that things weren't right. Then, one night, I overheard a conversation that shattered my world. Jared had left his phone on the kitchen counter while he went to the bathroom, and a text came through. I don't usually snoop, but something made me pick up the phone and look at the message. It was from Becky. The text said, "Can't wait to see you tonight. I've missed you." My heart stopped. I scrolled up and found more messages that left no doubt about what was happening. Jared and Becky had been having an affair for months. My husband and my sister, I felt like my entire life had been ripped apart in that moment. I didn't confront them right away. Instead, I decided to play it cool and come up with a plan. I needed to make sure they knew that I wasn't someone to be messed with. I needed to make them pay for betraying me in the worst possible way. The first thing I did was start gathering evidence. I took screenshots of the texts, recorded their conversations when they thought I wasn't around, and even followed them to one of their secret meetups. I knew I had to be careful. I didn't want to tip them off that I was onto them. Once I had all the evidence I needed, I decided to hit them where it hurt the most. I knew that Becky had been having financial trouble, and that Jared had been helping her out with money, our money. So I drained our joint bank account and put everything into a separate account that only I had access to. I also contacted a lawyer and started the process of filing for divorce. I made sure that Jared would be left with nothing. He wouldn't even see it coming. But I didn't stop there. I knew that Jared's job was his pride and joy, and he'd been working on a big project that was supposed to land him a promotion. So I sent an anonymous email to his boss, attaching the recordings I'd made of him talking about how he'd been fudging numbers and cutting corners to make the project look better than it was. The project was investigated, and Jared was fired on the spot. No promotion, no job, nothing. As for Becky, I knew she'd been secretly seeing a guy who she really liked. He didn't know that she was having an affair with Jared, so I made sure he found out. I sent him the screenshots of her texts with Jared and told him everything. He dumped her immediately and blocked her on everything. Once I had set everything in motion, I finally confronted them both. I invited them over for dinner, acting like everything was normal. When they arrived, I calmly laid out all the evidence in front of them. The texts, the recordings, the photos. I watched as their faces turned white, as the reality of what I'd done sank in. I told them I was filing for divorce and that they were dead to me. Jared begged for forgiveness, but I wasn't having it. I told him to pack his things and get out. As for Becky, she just sat there in shock, crying and apologizing over and over again. I told her I never wanted to see her again, and I meant it. Now, a few weeks later, I'm sitting here wondering if I went too far. I'm not sure I regret what I did, but I can't help but feel like I destroyed both of their lives. Jared lost his job, his wife, and his daughter. Becky lost her relationship and her sister. Part of me feels justified, but another part of me wonders if I could have handled things differently. So what do you think? Did I go too far in getting revenge on my cheating husband and sister? Or was I justified in making them pay for what they did to me? I'm not sure if I can ever forgive them, but I'm also not sure if I can forgive myself for what I did. Am I the asshole?